solution, and we use the program called 1C Drive in our institution. So I'm just going to have a basic run through, and if I have any questions, you're more than welcome to raise your hand. Anna will tell me if there's someone that's raised their hands and ask their questions. So let me start off first by saying what TSIBA is, and then we'll get into how we use the program. So TSIBA Education is a non-profit university, and we're based out here in Woodstock in Cape Town. We've been using pastoral accounting for most of our operations from 2005 all the way until the late part of 2019. And pastoral was working fine for us, except that it's not really meant for an institution the size of our organization, and we've outgrown it significantly. We then looked at ways and other applications, and it was decided that we would go with 1C Drive, and that RISE SA would be doing some customization and development for our specific needs. So there's a lot of differences between pastoral and an ERP system. So it does take getting used to in terms of how the system works and what we do with the system. But for the most part, from an accounting point of view, it does everything we need. So one thing that I can say, we started using the system at the end of our financial year, and we used it in our new financial year starting the 1st of October 2019. The system is completely online, and it's hosted by us, or we can choose to have RISE hosted for us. And it did help us when COVID hit, we could now work online, whereas pastoral, we had to physically be in the office to work with pastoral. So this did help us in the sense that we could still carry on working during the COVID situation. All of my whole accounting team could work online and work from home. So that was a very good thing for us at the time. So we use it every day for our accounting needs. Everything we do that we did in pastoral, we're now doing in 1C and a bit more. So first off, I'm going to just start off on going through our different options. So this is obviously the home screen that we have. We've got some menus on top where we can do various other things. So I'm going to go through the sales and the purchases more, and then we'll go through anything else. So on the sales side is our quotations, our sales orders, and our sales invoices, and our customers, and we've got some reports and other tools. So all our monthly invoicing we do through our sales, and again, it's pretty straightforward. We can filter out, and we can do all of our invoicing through here. We can check the status, whether it's paid in full, whether it's paid in part, and we can even filter out various unpaid. We can check various statuses of our invoices that we've gone out. One thing that's also different is that we can edit things. We can lock periods, but we can edit our invoices after we've posted it. So pastoral, we obviously couldn't do those types of things. Once an invoice is processed in pastoral and is posted to the batch, you can't do any changes. So this is our invoicing, and we can create various things. We can create our invoices here. This is basically what we have. We have our customer. We can link it to purchase orders. We don't necessarily get purchase orders or sales orders from customers because our customers are our students. And then we've got business units, and we can then specify what it is that we're selling. One thing we do mostly, and let me just close this quickly, is we've got what is called recurring invoices or batch invoicing, and this is something that 1C has developed for us. So our students' fees are pretty much set every month, so we create batches, and we simply just copy the batch, and these can be changed, and we can then run a batch to do all invoices for that month. There's no limitation. Obviously, it creates all of the invoices for us and the students, and we can then email, we can print, we can create the invoices, and then afterwards we can select multiple invoices, and we can then email those selected to those students. So it's it's everything linked to our email, and it sends it from the system, and it's sitting in our sent items on our mail server. So it's linked that way. From our purchasing side, we've asked 1C to develop a specialized procurement system for us. We're a very large organization with a turnover, with a budget of about 28 million every year. So our procurement system is a bit complicated in that we need people to get approvals for what they need. So we asked 1C to create a procurement portal for us. And basically what this allows us is that every one of our staff members can do procurement, and it comes through here for approvals. And what will happen is that we get a RFQ, a request for quotation, they receive a quotation, they get approvals, and it goes through to wherever it needs to go, to Exco for approval, to our operations, or wherever it needs to go, and it links in here. Once everything is complete, it automatically generates a purchase order that we then send off to the supplier. So everything is linked within the same thing. So there's the software licensing, and there are attached files, so we can attach the invoices, and we can link and see what else is linked to this purchase order, all the way from the RFQ to the purchase order to the approval, and all the way through to the bank payment. Everything is linked. That's our approval process. But if we don't use the approval process, we can also just manually go through our purchases. We can create a purchase order, and then from there we can generate from the purchase order. We can do a supplier invoice, and from the supplier invoice we can then do a payment to the suppliers. So it's pretty easy. It does take, like I said, it does take a bit of learning to get to this stage of understanding how the system works and what we can do with the system, but it's very user-friendly and it's very customizable. That was the procurement side, and obviously the sales and the procurement. The other thing that we asked them to develop for us and that was important for us was the asset register module. Whereas before we used to keep a very cumbersome Excel spreadsheet and do manual journals every month to do the depreciations. At this moment in time, all our assets is now in the system. Let me just go to something that's easier. All our assets are in the system. Our depreciation, when things are completely depreciated, our value at the current value, everything is in here. And our depreciations now take literally 10 minutes to do the depreciation on an asset register of over, I think, 5 million rands worth of assets. And that's everything from our laptops, our desks, all our equipment that we have, our Clever Touch devices, our smart screens. Everything is basically done in the space of 10 minutes, and it's all automated. We can also, sometimes we sell stuff, our old laptops to staff, and it's fairly easy to be able to sell an item and get rid of, to write off an item. So there's the fixed asset module was very, very important for us in the sense that it saved us a lot of time. So if I want to write it off, it's a one-click operation. If I want to sell the item, it will create a sales invoice. I choose who I'm selling it to, and that can be a student, members. Automatically puts in does the calculation of it reverses the accumulated depreciation and takes it through to the profit and loss on sale of fixed assets. So all of those calculations are done. The only thing I need to put in here is what I'm selling the device for. So this item we initially bought for 15,000 Rand. We've depreciated already 10,000 Rand. So at the moment, it's about 5,500 Rand on our books. And if I were to sell it to a staff member today for 6,000 Rand, it will automatically do all of those things. And it will show that I made a profit of about 400 Rand on the sale of a fixed asset. And this applies to any of our fixed assets. Whether we write it off, it will do all of those calculations as well. And so this is very important. The system has gone through our independent auditors, and they were quite happy with how the system works and what we are getting out of it. The next item I wanted to just do, and before the last item, I'm going to swap around the agenda a bit because I want to leave the reporting for very last. The next item we did was the bank, and basically all bank accounts, all of South African banks allow you to download what's called an OFX file, and an OFX file is a standard financial transaction file. So what we do is we import using the upload feature here. We download the OFX file from FNB, we upload it in here, and then it imports it all like this. And what we then do is we just choose whether it's a supplier, whether it's a payment to a customer, a receipt from a payment to a supplier, a receipt from a customer, or whether it's a direct GL allocation, such as bank fees and so forth. And then once we've done the allocation, we can approve it, and it goes through, and we've got our approved transaction in terms of where all of those transactions are. And from there, we then do our bank recons, which is sitting under, I think, under cash management. We've got, let me just see, where's this bank reconciliation. So we then do a bank reconciliation. We can do it once a month, or we can do it every week, depending on how busy we are. But basically, the bank recon will tell us if we have any differences. Like I said, and we just tick off. Obviously, this one is not yet done. There's still a few things here that we need to do. And once it's done, it will tell you whether there's a difference, and then we can obviously print the bank recon, and it will list all of those transactions, statement, opening balance, and all of those things. And getting back to the main feature of any accounting system is the financial reports, because that to me is important. I have to report on the financial status of the organization to our board, to our executive, to various other external parties. So we've got a bunch of reporting options. Our organization is also divided into different business units. So we have our marketing department, we have our sustainability or relationships, we've got our campus management, we've got academics, and we've got all of these different business units. So every single transaction is linked to a business unit, and we can then report on all of those business units either individually or as a whole. So I'm just going to run the main report quickly and select for this financial year. I'm going to select everything. So basically what this does is it allows me to see what our current status is. So at the moment, this is our budget for the year in terms of income. This is our expenses, and we have a budget loss of 7 million. This is the actual income, actual expenses, the variance, and in the actual income, and in the variance, and the profit and loss so far for the year as it is right now. And this is for the whole organization. But like I explained, we have business units. So what I can do is I can go and look at like the finance department. I can run a report just for the finance department. And for the finance department, I can see that we've got our income for the year, our expenses, and our losses, and our actual expenses, and our actual income for the finance department. So it's very useful in the sense that I can go and speak to all these different departments, and they can manage and track how they are doing from a financial point of view. Obviously, we still have the other normal accounts. So we've got a trial balance that basically lists, and you can set the various, either for the calendar year or the financial year, or you can specify your own period. And we can then generate and run this report. So this is as of the end of April, which we've just finished. And it does a comparison to last year. So it looks a bit similar to what you would be able to get from a normal accounting package. These are pretty standard. And yeah, we can see all our income. The other thing that's good about this thing is that everything can be drilled down. So you can drill down into the ledger, and you can choose recorder, and it will show you those details. You can then double click on the transaction. It will actually open up the full document. So this is a bank payment and how it was allocated. It also says who created the document and the transaction as it appears on the bank. And then the last major reporting function that they had for us is a very customized financial reporting module, which I've been using and playing around with. And basically, this is a template or a report that, and I'm not going to go into detail in terms of how you can customize it, but you can customize it to your needs. And you can name it what you want. There's a lot of customization. It took me about a good 2 weeks to understand this module. But basically, I can customize a specific report and only include certain ledger items. It does take a while to run, depending on how big the organization is. But it's generating the report, and it's looking at various other sort of parameters. It gives it in a much nicer format that I can give to external parties, to our board, because our board doesn't need all this detail. They just want a high level report, and this consolidates everything for me, and it's very much customizable. And then there's a few other things within the system that we are not using, and that's up for development. So there's the services, there's the warehousing, and then there's payroll. But for the most part, we use the analysis mostly. The other thing that I do use a lot is I check the audit trail. So every single document, let me just go to our sales invoice quickly and open up one of the older ones. So there's a change history, and basically I can check and compare different versions. So if someone made a mistake or someone changed it, I would know immediately who made the change and what the changes was made. So I can compare the two. I can open up various versions, and then I can choose to reinstate an older version if I wanted to. So there's a lot of customizations in here. The thing that I like the most about it is the fact that the support is there, and that I can get on the line with RISE, and I can ask them a question. I can tell them there's an issue, or I can tell them that can you look at how I can do this, or can you customize this for me in a better way that I can see my report. But from an accounting point of view, all the processing works the way it should be, and the only thing that stands out is our reporting module that gives me so much options. Is there any questions, Anna? Are there any questions?
Yes.
Anything specific you want me to cover?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, Achmat, for such a detailed presentation. Perhaps we can take questions now from the attendees. And maybe just before you ask your question, if you could possibly introduce yourself and what institution you're from, and possibly maybe what systems you're currently using. So to ask a question, you can just unmute your microphone at the bottom of your screen. and basically say it out loud, or you can also use the chat window where you can just type your question. Thank you so much.
One thing I also want to tap into is that when we did the migration from Pastel, and if some of you guys are using Pastel or other not hosted but offline accounting packages, Pastel only keeps data for 2 years within the system, and once RISE did an import for us, and they imported 4 years worth of data into the system. So I've still got all that data from Pastel going back 4 years. And as the system grows, I will always be able to have access to those data in the same company, instead of, like in Pastel, open up a previous year's company or older year's companies, and then you end up getting passwords because the words changed or people change. So I can set my users. I've got a few options in terms of settings where I've got I'm just trying to see where's the user options. But basically all my users are here. I can manage, I can run reports and see what how busy they are. So I've got a report that I look. So it came in helpful when COVID started, because they had some staff members that were not working, and I could run a report and say, but you haven't worked or you haven't done anything. Not that I'm a micromanager, but the system looks at users and say, well, you've been on the system for 12 hours in week. So it shows me also the activity in terms of what documents they entered, how many documents they changed. So all of those things, and I can see exactly what my team has been up to. So it's very good from a user management point of view.
Right. Thank you so much, Achmat. Perhaps if you have any feedback, any input, it would be great to hear.
I think from my side, like I said, I do enjoy working with the system. It's helped me a lot, especially with COVID. I'm at the moment working from home, and I can access this device completely everywhere. The other thing that I maybe didn't cover and mention is that they actually have a mobile app. It's not on the App Store. You have to ask them for it. So I've got a mobile app that's linked to this, and from my phone I can actually log in and I can do everything I'm doing on here. I can do it on my phone. It's a bit better than using the website on my phone, because when you open a website on your phone, it doesn't always make the display correct. But when you do the app, and then you've got a better option. So I can do anything that I do on the platform on my laptop. I can do it on my phone as well.
Mm-hmm. All right. There is one question asking, okay, what is the package called and what is the price?
Okay, so pricing, you will have to get in touch with RISE. We had it custom developed, so we did pay some development fees. The application itself is called 1C Drive. That is the name of the application. So you can see this is on a website. This is hosted by us, and you can choose to host it on your own server. So what that means is you go to Hetzner or what's it, Xnilo right now, or any of these hosting providers, and you take out a server from them and you install the software on the server. Depending on your needs for the server, they would charge a hosting fee. But I also think, and Anna can correct me, but I think RISE also offers to host it, but then they would obviously charge you to host it on their side. But technically this is hosted on our server, and we've got a systems person that manages our server for us. And once he or I does have access to our server if they need to do any maintenance. But this is hosted by us. So we're entirely responsible for paying those hosting fees and managing it. And if we're not happy with the provider, we can move it over. We can just as we're on here and we're waiting on some questions, we have to manually close periods within the system so that people cannot edit. So normally what happens when I'm done with April right now, I finish my management reports, I've sent budget owners all the reports, and what we'll do is my bookkeeper will go in here and she will then just say that the period needs to be closed, and she will specify the date, and what that will do is that no one will be able to edit. But if there is a mistake or I need to fix something, I can always open the period and I can then go and edit those documents. So again, unlike Pastel, if you post an invoice in Pastel or you post a journal, you have to repost a correcting journal, or you have to do a credit note to fix those invoices. With OneC, we can actually edit our documents afterwards. But I've got very strict controls in place so that nothing changes or no one can actually change this closing periods. It's only myself and my senior bookkeeper that does that.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you so much. Are there maybe any questions? Okay, it's a pleasure. Also something to add, if you maybe would like to discuss your specific requirements, we could maybe also just set up a brief Zoom meeting just to hear a bit more what your current challenges are. Also, you know, in addition to the OneC Drive system, we have developed also a one-stop package for schools and for colleges, which is a different solution. It's essentially an accounting package, but it also has quite a few customized modules for basically education providers. So that is another thing. So it's a bit of a smaller solution, but it also covers the requirements, you know, of education providers, and it has a mobile app that allows you to communicate, you know, with your stakeholders, such as your learners or your parents. And it saves a lot of paper and time, and people can just check it out immediately, because as you post something on the app, they will get a push notification and they will see it. And on top of that, they can also see, you know, the fees. So when they settle for the, you know, for the fees, it will also reflect on the app. So it just saves time on that.
So
Okay.
On that, and I maybe want to add for our guest is that there are a number of, I think there's thousands of applications that's developed on the OneC platform. And if there's an application called like Rise Accounting and there's OneC Drive, some modules, it's very easily, because it's so customizable, it can be moved or copied and integrated into another system if I need it. So it's not like Pastel, and I've worked with Pastel for many years. I used to be a Pastel reseller. I'm an authorized Pastel trainer, so I know Pastel, but I have never gotten Pastel to develop or change something within their system for my needs. They will tell me, this is our package, you buy it off the shelf, and that is what you get. With OneC Drive and any of the other packages that Rise is selling, it's not an off-the-shelf solution. It can be, but they can also customize it and develop it or your specific requirements within the application. So that is one thing that I do like. I've tried many times to get Pastel to make changes to Pastel Accounting, Pastel Partner, or even Pastel Express, and they just wouldn't do it.
Okay, thank you so much, Achmat. I see there are more questions, so if you don't mind.
No, I don't mind, it's fine. I'm here for the questions.
Yes, no, I just thought if you don't mind, just and stop sharing your screen, I can just also show the, you know, the.
Okay.
Okay, I'm just going to
Okay,
share.
so let me open the chat and then I can maybe have a look.
Yes. So with regards to your question, so this is our, the package that we, as I've mentioned, this is another solution. Currently, many local schools and colleges use it, and it's basically the way it works, and maybe the differences between this package and the OneSeeDrive. So as Achmat has mentioned, OneSeeDrive is an ERP-class system, so it allows you to do very detailed reporting, and like Achmat showed, there is also procurement management that was specifically developed, for their organization, as well as business unit reporting. This solution, it's called RISE School Management, and it can also basically be used for colleges. And I will just show you very briefly how it works. And I saw there was a question about the LMS. So this is the learner data, and the learner data is basically all the information, and all the records about your learners, and as well as the Guardian information. It's all in one place. And the way it works is that you can also take it out from the system. The learner data module is linked with the accounting package. And what that means is that you can also view the history in one place. So you can, track from the moment this specific learner had an opening balance and up until now, all the payments, all the statements, and all of that will be reflecting here. Now, this information also reflects on the app so that, your learners or parents can view it basically in almost real time. So as you assign it, as you work in the bank stream, it will also reflect in the app. And in terms of what modules it covers, you can create also batch invoicing. You can keep track of your attendance, both on the server and also on the app. You can create subjects, classes, grades, and there is also the marks module that was developed specifically for education providers. There is also the behavior module where you can track your incidents and customize your transgressions, for your specific needs. And of course, there are also other reports. So all the accounting reports are here. They're not as detailed as the OneSeeDrive solution, but they have, there is also your balance sheet that you can basically, let me just quickly show you the budget. So sorry, not the balance sheet. I wanted to show you the budget plan versus actual. What Achmat was also showing on OneSeeDrive, but this just allows you to see how you track within your budget. So you can create your budget very quickly on the system. And it shows you here, this is your budgeted amounts, and these are your accounts, and you can also see what is your actual amount. And you can drill down and just basically access whatever transaction that you would like maybe to check and see what it was for. So this is the RISE School Management and the RISE College Management. But of course, the main point is that it is a customizable solution. So what we usually do, we will look at your current setup, what you're currently using as an organization, and what your requirements are, which direction you would like to take and which modules you need. And then basically we can take it from there. That's how we work, We work with very specific needs of the organizations and of the education providers to make sure that the solution actually works for them.
It's just to jump in. I think it's not a one-size-fits-all type of solution that says here's a package and it applies to all schools, because we know that every single company is different, whether it's a normal company, a service company, inventory. Even though Pick n Pay and ShopRite does the same thing, they are completely different in how they do the accounting. So we don't, or RISE doesn't, or the application doesn't say that it's a one size for all type of, whereas Pastel says it's a one size for all, and you need to do with it what you want.
Yes, correct, exactly. So that is the major difference, is that, you know, we can look at what we currently have and also what you need, and also possibly maybe if you do require some extra developments, or you can just use what we have and it can be customized towards your needs. Yeah. Okay, I see there is a question. So the contact details, you will probably have our contact details on your email. I'm just checking now but we can also maybe just have a brief Zoom meeting whenever it would suit you, just to hear your questions in more detail and what your current challenges are. Would that be in order? Okay, that's fine. Yeah, you can just send us an email. Yeah, we can definitely organize it. And just something that I wanted to show you lastly also, very briefly. So in terms of the app, what it actually looks like, let me just show you. So this is the kind of posts and information that you can put up on the app. As a college, as an education provider, you can do it both in English and Afrikaans. And as you can see on the right-hand side, this is the actual billing. So your customers can actually see, well, customers in this case, learners, they can see exactly what they've paid and what they still owe, to the college. And it's basically any kind of updates that you have, your schedules, your exam rosters, your newsletters, they can all be put up onto the app and accessed very quickly on the learner's side and on the parent side. And this is also just some fundraising activities that can be posted as well.
I think, Anna, they can actually go to the App Store and download the app, because the app is free to download, and they can choose one of the schools and they can have a look at it and see what information they posted. They won't see learner data until they link it to a learner, but they can check that.
Yes, 100%, yes. Yeah.
I forgot what the app is called. Is it
It's
called Rice School on the Play Store?
Currently it's called Rice Communicator.
Okay, Rice Communicator. Yeah, and like I said, the app is free. There's no ads. I think many people in South Africa is probably familiar with D6. So I think it's in a similar line, but now all the information is all in one place.
Yes, correct. Yes. Yeah, and the app, it's also, we constantly improve it and add new functionality. So currently your educators, they can also use the app to, for instance, create incidents, keep track of attendance. We are also currently adding the marks, so the progress reports will also reflect on the app. So that, it also just enables you to save on paper and to make it available to your learners. So
on that question, from my understanding, is that anyone can download the app, but you need to link it to your account and get authorizations, and you would have learners or their parents downloading the app. Parents, especially if they want to see like the financial status and homework timetables, especially for younger learners. But for older learners in a TVET college environment, the students would actually be downloading the app. It's on the Google Play Store. I'm not sure if it's on the Apple Store
well.
yet.
Yes, it's on both.
Both.
Yeah,
it's on both. Okay.
Yeah. Yes, correct. So yes, that is correct. So your students would then download the app and they can then view all your updates, all the basically events that you that any updates, even on COVID, so you can also attach PDF files, you can even include links, yeah. But as I said, probably it's better if we can just discuss it outside of this platform, just to hear a little bit more what you're currently using. It will be just more helpful to to understand exactly, where you're coming from.
On the app, Anna, I need to discuss with you when we have time is to get the app maybe integrated into OneSeat so that our students can also have some of those features at another time.
Oh, okay. So you would like to integrate?
Yeah, eventually get our students to also download the app. We're not doing that side on OneSeat yet. So maybe it's something we can look at in this year.
Yes, sounds like a plan. Okay, yes. Thank you so much, for attending the forum and for your feedback and the questions. And yes, definitely we can just discuss in a bit more detail.
So thank you, everyone, and I hope it was useful. And if you have any questions specifically on how TSIBA is using OneSeat, you can, I think Anna can leave my email address, and you guys can email me, and I'll be more than happy to answer some questions. The demo that I did was actually from our current live system. So it wasn't a demo, it was our live system.
No,
okay, thank you,
Thank
Anna.
you so much, Achmat. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye-bye. Bye, everyone. Have a good day.